Hello everyone, Zelrant here, and today we're going to be talking about Girls Frontline 2 and poll priorities, but this one's going to be for our new players. One of the biggest things I had feedback on in my last video was I kind of focused more on people that have been playing since the game has launched, like I have. And so new players that have started recently, or will be starting soon, because we do have the half anniversary coming up, which will be really, really big, to kind of talk about what their priorities should be at this point. Now, I planned to get it out yesterday, but I actually got a new PC that I just built, and I've been getting it going and up and running now, which means I had to redo all my settings in OBS and all that. I think I've got everything about good, but just let me know in the comments how the audio and all that is for you, if there's any issues, because it is a whole new PC, so there could be some things that are still a little off. Everything sounded good to me when I kind of tested it out. But yeah, just give me any feedback if there's any audio issues. But everything at this point kind of looks good. But let's just go ahead and get right into it. For a new player, you are starting at probably the perfect time to start. Right now, we have an amazing unit that is actually currently available that I would say you absolutely 100% want to get as a new player. And that is going to be Vector here. He's top of the tier list still in CN and is the core of one of the most free-to-play teams in the game. The only one that kind of ties alongside it would be Hydro, but she is part of the Burn team. And if you are able to get Vector, you're going to be set up really well, because as a new player, you get a copy of Vector, and then you're going to get a crap ton of standard pulls as you're pushing through the story right now. And the nicest thing that's available right now in Girls Frontline 2 is on the standard banner, you can select which standard unit you want to target. And the unit you're going to want to target is going to be QJ, which is right here. And the reason you want to target QJ is because she's that support action unit that can do support actions. And right now, with her new expansion key, her support actions are burn type. And that pairs well with Vector, who increases the amount of support actions. Or for those that don't know what support action means, follow-up attacks, if you're used to like Kukai Star Rail, where she will attack after somebody else attacks. And so with Vector, it gives her the ability to do 5 of them when you use her ultimate. If you don't use her ultimate, she can do 4. And then if you want to, Pulver Vector V1, which I would say is a very good choice as well. And then she can go all the way up to 6 support actions. The other great thing is the other best member of the Burn team is going to be Sharky. And she is very, very good. And with all the pulling you're going to do on the standard banner for QJ, or also when you're pulling for Vector, you should hopefully get at least 1 copy of Sharky. And she just pairs amazingly well with QJ, especially if you can get QJ to V3. I would say at this point, with all your standard pulls, you should pull over QJ until you get her V3. And because what that does is that makes it where now QJ can do a debuff called Overburn on the boss, which Sharky does support actions or follow-up attacks when Overburn is applied to the boss, meaning that immediately after QJ does a support action, Sharky will do a support action. And the nice thing is, Vector has a bunch of support actions in her own kit, so she'll do support actions as well. And they just pair well and are very good at that single target damage. Especially if you're not max level and you're fighting bosses at this point, especially like in the events, they're going to just annihilate them, even though you're not at the highest level. I would definitely focus on getting Vector and QJ copies right now while you have Vector and her available. The other unit that'll be great that you should be able to get as a copy at some point is going to be Senia here. And that is because she's kind of your, she's a support / sustain for the Burn team. She works really well. And many people consider her better than Senia, who is the dedicated sustain for Burn. And that's because Senia doesn't like outpace Senia until we get her expansion key in terms of support. Senia has definitely better healing or sustain, but Senia at this point, some will say, is better on the support side. The nice thing though is if you do want to complete that Burn team, we should be getting the rerun of Senia on the next banner alongside Yuhi. But we'll get to that in a second. So that's kind of right now. That'll get you set up. You'll have like a perfect team already ready to go if you get Vector, especially if you get Vector V1, have QJ. You don't have to get V3 immediately, but work your way towards it with Sharky, Senia. So there's your core 4 right there. If you join a platoon, your platoon should hopefully at this point have a very good borrow unit like a Kukai, hopefully V3 or V6. If you don't have that, you're going to have something in there. Like all the platoons should have like a V1 macchiato. You'll have a very good borrow unit to pair well with that team. And so you're good to go for your Gunsmoke Frontline, especially when you get max level at this point. Now going further for you, what we expect is the next banner, or the next one after it, is going to be Yuhi and Zhaohui. And they are, let's see here if they're on this banner, where they are. I can never, let's see. Oh, I thought I saw her here. Where the heck do they have? Do they not have? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on globals. That's why I wasn't seeing her. I was like, there's a lot more units than I'm seeing here. Okay. They are going to have Yuhi and Zhaohui, where Yuhi is... Where do they have her on the tier list? Yuhi is right here in tier 2, and you have Zhaohui, who is... Where do they have her at? Are they saying she's a... Okay, they're saying she's a DPS. She's kind of a support. But you have Zhaohui, who is a Hydro DPS, and then you have Yuhi, who is a support physical. For a brand new player, I would say both of these units are going to be skips for you. There's kind of big reasons. One, Hydro team right now does not need Zhaohui. When it comes to building your Hydro team, you're actually going to make... All you really need is Tololo, who's a standard unit, which they have... Where do they have? We'll go to bossing. Top. They have Tololo, and then when Springfield comes out, you want to target her V1 on Springfield. Springfield is, like I mentioned in the last video, is going to be a huge person to get, because a V1 Springfield alongside a V2 Tololo with her expansion key is just dominates. I mean, it is a boss killing unit. Tololo gets to go 3 times in her turn alongside a V1 Springfield, and all of her attacks are Hydro. Very, very good. And she's a standard unit, meaning just like with QJ, where you can select QJ to be your target, once you get that V3 QJ, which you should get after a couple months of getting your standard pulls, your next target will be a V2 Tololo. So that way she'll be hopefully ready by the time Springfield comes out. You can go for a V1 Springfield. And now you've got basically, you got a really good burn team, and you have your Springfield Tololo that can pair well with anyone to work really well. So you'll want to save up for Springfield. She's going to be your #1 priority when she comes out. But there's the other thing we have coming, which is the reruns coming up on these next banners. Like I said, we have Cinerisi. I've already mentioned that. She's good if you want to get an extra sustain, because right now we do not know. We've already had a rerun of Suomi, who's the best sustain in the game right now. But we don't know when she's going to rerun again at this point for us. So Cinerisi is on the next banner. She will pair well with the burn team. So if you want to get that extra protection of a good sustain, because Senia or Full Fiend doesn't really do it for you, Cinerisi will be on the next banner, and she will be good because she pairs well with the burn team. And she will, once she gets her expansion key, she will surpass Senia too in the support side of things. As you can see, they've already got it marked here on their tier list for bossing. So she's a good option to pull for, but she is skippable. It is, you can live with just using Senia as like your main healing support. And then if you really need one, you can have Cheetah as well, or even Colfiend to kind of make you get by. Because the next big, like, kind of sustained support person is going to be Andrus. Or you can wait for the rerun of Suomi. So, it's kind of up to you there. I don't think she's mandatory, but I personally like Cinerisi because just the burn team's so good. Just having that extra support, especially with the expansion key, is going to be great. But then you have the really big unit that's going to rerun after Cinerisi, which is going to be paired most likely with Zhaohui, and that is going to be Kukai. And as a new person coming in, brand spanking new right now, this is going to really depend on how much you like the character. Kukai is very good to pick up. I'd say absolutely pick her up for V0. For general content, for AoE, cannot be beaten. It's still the best of the best NCN, and nothing's really come close. You can kind of say Leva, maybe, but Leva is very team dependent. So Kukai is a very good pickup at V0. Now, if you really like the unit, and you're like me, or you're a heavier spender as well, she's also currently the best V3 and V6, in my opinion, in this game because of how flexible she is. So you're going to have, if you go get Kukai to V6, she dominates at bossing as well, and she pairs well with any team. You can throw her in any team. But what she also does really well is she pairs well with another great standard unit, who you'll see on these tier lists is going to be down towards the bottom on a lot of them. And that is because Peridia sucks until you have a copy of Kukai, because Kukai's ultimates will trigger Peridia's support actions 3 times per ultimate. Essentially, you can do, at V3 and higher, you can do 2 ultimates against a boss. She can trigger all 6 of Peridia's in one go, and now you have a single target damage dealer in Peridia paired with Kukai. And so, Kukai is kind of up in the air, and depending on whether you really like her or not, to do a heavy investment. I wouldn't do it unless you're a spender, but I know a lot of people like to go that direction. But I think her V0 is a very good pickup just because of how nice it is on just the general content, how quickly she can clear it. But since you have the burn team, and you are saving up for the Hydra team eventually to be like really good at Gunsmoke Frontline, I will say Kukai is skippable if you really don't have the pulls. She is a potential skip there. Just know we don't know when she's rerunning after that point. But so we have Kukai come next. After her, we don't know who the next unit's going to be on the main limited banner coming up next after that. But we will know that Mishti is going to be the unit after Kukai. And if you're going for the Kukai, Peridia, and a heavier spender direction, Mishti is an absolute great pickup. I think she's an overall great pickup for Gunsmoke Frontline just in general, even if you didn't have Kukai, because you can borrow a Kukai. But that's going to be... that's absolutely not necessary. But if you are going for the Kukai side of things, I think Mishti is a good pickup. One problem you're going to start running into, though, is we don't know the next units coming up. And you definitely should be saving for a V1 Springfield. And so trying to get a Kukai and a Mishti may be pretty hard. So you may want to see, because we don't know who the unit's going to be there. I think you don't make that decision until we know who's coming up after Xiaohui and Yuhi, because that'll kind of give you a direction of where you maybe want to go on using your pulls. Because if we start seeing the electric units like Lena and Andrus, those are really big pickups if you want to go in the electric direction. So if you really like Leva, for example, who's kind of the main DPS and kind of the equivalent of a Kukai, she's just as good as Kukai, if not better at V6 if you want to heavily invest in her. But she's also really good at V1. She's just more team dependent. Kukai you can throw anywhere. Leva pairs well with Andrus and Lena as just your kind of electric team. She's not really that good on her own floating around with other teams, which is really the only negative. She dominates if you have her with the right team there. If you want to invest in those, that is probably a for sure skip Kukai and Mishti and instead start picking up the electric units. So you'll know they're coming out because we'll know those specific units are there. But we also have the other direction they could go, which would really hurt people's wallets, which is they have Springfield come right out right after Xiaohui. And if that's the case, to me, Springfield's a throw everything you have at her to get a V1. She is got, just like Vector, her and Vector have the best single V1s in the game. It's not necessary, but Springfield's is just so good with Tololo. I'd say even free to play, it's an absolute great pickup. It's just, and if you don't get it the first try, you can always pick it up on the rerun. Get it V0 for now, and then get V1 on rerun. But Springfield is like, to me, like the closest thing to a mandatory person, unless you just hate Tololo and don't like the Hydra team at all, because she is absolutely amazing. And if you want to heavily invest in any character, V3 and V6, Springfield is the best of the bunch, because she's basically a sustain. She does amazing support, and then as you invest in her more with more dupes, if you're a spender, now her damage goes up, and she can match QJ and Tololo on single target damage on her own. Absolutely beast of a unit right there in Springfield. And then that's the big thing. After that point, depending on if you want to go with the electric team and that, I mean, it's kind of wide open at that point. Like you'll see a lot of people say, it's kind of a dartboard on who they're going to throw out next. Now, there's one thing I have not mentioned yet, though. Now, I kind of forgot to mention it at the beginning. With the half anniversary, they will have a... they had it in CN, so it's very likely they'll have it with us. We just don't know the details. They will have a banner that is a 100% rate up that you select one of the previous characters that came out. And in CN, it was 4 units. I believe it was 4 units. The reason we don't know who it's going to be on ours is because they had Lena on it. And we don't have Lena currently in Global, so it's not going to be an option for us. My suspicions will be that it's going to be Suomi, Macchiato, Dush, and Daeon. If that's what happens, absolutely 100%. If you want to get that top tier sustain, that's your chance to get Suomi. I would absolutely get at least V0 over her. She's really, really good in any team as a sustain. I like to throw her, like, just in general content, even though it's not the best DPS-wise. I love to just throw her in my team because she's great on auto, on just keeping your team alive in the content, and you don't even have to think about it. And so she would be my main target on that one. I think right now, Ice Team is just, like, even though she's Ice, I wouldn't worry too much about Macchiato or Dush at this point as a new player, simply because we've already had them come out as well as the rerun, so it's very unpredictable when we are going to be getting the next units. But unless you really love Macchiato, I would actually skip her as a new player for now, because we've already kind of, it's a lot more unpredictable on the Ice Team. They've kind of given us that team. The only person we're missing, and when I suspect we'll see the next reruns of them, is going to be when Robella comes out. And they don't have her on the tier list yet. But Robella's not really anything crazy either at this point for Ice. So I think you're best just saving, being ready for Springfield. But if you want to get that really nice and comfy sustain, Suomi probably will be an option on that banner. And if she is, absolutely a great pickup. And then you can just skip Cinerisi and just use Senia over your burn team. But that's pretty much it after that point. I mean, we don't know the order they're going to go with. They could always bring Puri out when they soon. I mean, Puri pairs well with the burn team. What she's really good at is getting QJ to trigger her support actions. But you have so many more options for that, especially as we get farther into more units coming out. And so a lot of people are going to say she's a skip for the burn team, because you already have a full burn team once we get... where is she? And I can't ever say her name. Everybody says I say it wrong. Shawi. I think some people are saying it's Shawi, even though it doesn't look like that at all. So I'll just say Shawi. Or Shihu. Whatever. I can't say her name. Everybody's called me out on it. But she is she's another big unit, shotgun burn unit that pairs with QJ and all that. So she could come out as well. Not absolutely necessary. She's a very good borrow unit in Gunsmoke Frontline. So I think she's actually skippable for burn team. But she is the better option of her and Puri to pull if she comes out. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on the unit. Jeanju, if she comes out at some point in the future, she's a very easy skip for just about anybody, unless you really like her and you want to V6 her, because she is very bad at V0. Probably the worst of the group at V0 in terms of she's just very clunky with her mechanics. And then, yeah, I mean, Aldred, I wouldn't worry about her if we see her rerun. I mean, Sabrina, you're going to be getting the free copies from Boss, so don't worry about her. But that pretty much covers everyone. Belka's a great one to pick up for Electric Team, but not necessary if you want to. You can just invest in Mosin Nagant. You have to get a lot of dupes for Mosin Nagant to kind of get to Belka's level. But you can do that. If you really like her, which I think a lot of people like Belka for her skin. If you haven't seen her skin is kind of insane. She is a great pickup just for that alone. But, yeah, she's a good one to save up if you want to go full Electric Team. But when it comes to Electric, it's, to me, you either go Electric or you don't. So, you either skip Lena, Andrus, Belka, and Neva, or you try and get them, is my opinion. Just depends on you like the characters. But I think that pretty much covers all of them. And just kind of a quick ending to that. The big ones you want to look out for, get Vector right now, get your burn team all set up. I think with Vector, you're set to go with burn, and then you're just waiting for Jawi. After that, the next one is to wait basically for Springfield. She's the next big one that you want. If you can, get her at V1 alongside Vector, and now you have your two main Gunsmoke teams with a Springfield, Vector, Hydro Burn team, and then if you decide to go pick up Kukai, or you can borrow a Kukai, now you can pair Springfield and the Hydro team with Kukai, and then you can just throw other DPSs in there as well. Springfield and Tololo will carry you in doing a lot of damage, just like Kukai can carry you at V6. And then eventually Nikita come out. she'll be great to pick up for the Hydra team as well. Who knows when she'll come out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I mean, if you have any questions on it in the comments, just let me know, because it's kind of unique. Everybody's situation is unique when you started. You're starting right now versus you started a patch or two ago. But that's pretty much it for now. If you like my content, if you like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.